hedgerows are absolutely fantastic for wildlife. They're what we call a woodland edge ecotone, which means they have elements of woodland, elements of scrub, and elements of grassland, which means they actually can accommodate lots of different species from each of those habitats. And actually, the more you look at a hedge, the more wildlife you find. And I would say they have got three key roles for wildlife. So first of all, they provide a fantastic habitat as a home for wildlife, whether that be nesting birds, hibernating hedgehogs, or insects. Secondly, they provide a complementary habitat. So that might be shelter from elements or shelter from predators, or it could be for food. So sometimes we have winter visitor bird species that come over here and feast on the amazing amount of fruit that we have in our hedgerows in late summer and autumn and winter. So hedgerows connect up the landscape and they help other species get from one patch of habitat to another. And whether that be two patches of woodland that they can help connect, or maybe ponds or other types of habitat. There are some species that don't like travelling across the floor. Things like bats will use hedgerows to echolocate and to use them as corridors to travel amongst and to navigate by. But then of course we've got things like insects, things like butterflies and moths, sometimes actually really need the shelter that a hedgerow can provide to gain the body temperature they need to fly. So you'll often see them travelling along hedgerows rather than through the centre of fields, which can be a bit more windy. So we've created an app called Healthy Hedgerows, which is a free rapid assessment methodology to assess the management needs of a hedge, because the way we manage hedges has a huge impact on their structure, how good they are for wildlife, and even how well connected they can be. So it's really important that we manage our hedges well so that they have a healthy future. So we've created an app, as I said, called Healthy Hedgerows. It's completely free and it uses 6 simple questions to understand where a hedgerow is in its inherent life cycle and what your management options are to create the best hedge you can. So hedges don't do too well if they're managed the same way for too long. They actually need a little bit of dynamic management to suit their life cycle. And this is where Healthy Hedgerows comes in. So only when we know what the condition our hedges are in and what we need to do to them can we step back and make larger scale management plans. So a lot of advice is there for an individual hedge, but actually we need to step back and say, how do we connect that up as a landscape scale connectivity project, which is what the Claylands project is doing so fantastically. And with hedges, it's not quite as simple as managing each hedge on its own merits, because you wouldn't want to lay all of the hedges in one go because you take away too much habitat. So you need to really do a rapid assessment, understand what you've got to really make a well-connected management plan to make sure you keep your landscape connected. And it's similar to, I'd say, what we say in conservation quite a lot is we'd love hedges to be bigger, better, more of them, and better joined up. So the Healthy Hedgerows app was actually created as part of a project called Close the Gap, which is a collaborative project we're working on with a number of other fantastic organisations, the Tree Council, the University of Reading, FWAG, More Trees, HedgeLink and others. We were lucky enough to get a Green Recovery Challenge Fund grant to cover this project, and together we're working on every aspect of hedge, from hedgerow planting to hedgerow management advice. Across the board, we're looking at every aspect of hedge maintenance.